Geography lesson. Can you imagine what your city would look like if you saw it from 10,000 feet above the ground? Neatly planned and perfect in proportion like a geometric design, it would strike you as something very different from what it actually is while you are in the thick of it. Here is a poet's description of just such a view of the city and some questions that come to his mind. Here, in this poem, the poet compares when he flies in the jet high above the sky, how the earth looks, and when he is in the ground, how the earth looks. He is comparing these two things and he is trying to explain it in this poem. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had, seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile. There seemed an inevitability about what on ground had looked haphazard, unplanned and without style, when the jet sprang into the sky. Here, the poet is just imagining that he is in the jet, he is going to move up into the sky. Here the meaning, the word sprang is, it moved up like a spring. It was the clear why the city had developed. So in that height, the poet was just imagining how the city has developed down. It was a mile on the ground that looked as small as 6 inches. So the city looked so small for the poet when he saw from that height. That seemed an inevitability here which was certain to happen. And what on the ground had looked haphazard. So he feels that whatever he sees in the ground is without any plan. And he feels that there is no pattern in the formation of the city when the jet sprang into the sky. When the jet reached 10,000 feet, it was clear why the country had cities, where the rivers ran, and why the valleys were populated. The logic of geography, that land and water attracted man, was clearly delineated when the jet reached 10,000 feet. Here the poet, now he is in 10,000 feet high above the ground level. From there he sees the earth. When he sees the earth or the city, the country, it is clear for him that the cities all were formed near to the rivers. So he understood that why the cities are near to the rivers and why the valleys are populated. We normally know like people, they like to live near the place where there is river for them to survive. So here he says that the logic of geography, that land and water attracted man. So here he is explaining that whenever the person, a man, when he is living in a particular place, water is more important, and when he sees the rivers and valleys, he has an intention to stay there and lead his life. So that is clearly delineated. Here delineated is, the meaning is shown. So now the poet, he is finally concluding that when the jet reached 10,000 feet. So these are the things which the poet is seeing in 10,000 feet. When the jet rose 6 miles high, it was clear the earth was round and that it had more sea than land. But it was difficult to understand that the men on the earth found causes to hate each other, to build walls across the cities, and to kill. From that height, it was not clear why. Here the poet is trying to explain when he is 6 miles high above the ground level. So from there when he tries to see the earth, the shape of the earth looks round. There he could identify that the sea is more, the land area was very less and the sea area was more on the earth's surface. But still he could not understand why the men on the earth, they tried to hate one another. He could not understand why they decided to live separately and why they wanted to build walls across the city. And finally he also concludes that why people in the city, they try to kill each other. What is the use in it? So this was the big puzzle which the poets had in his mind, and he could not answer these questions.